the form, the karma. And between the name, the form and the karma, there is a kind of a correlation. One without the other can't exist. That is called a correlation. A correlation is not brought about in time. Correlation is synonymous with the existence of the correlated. A correlation cannot be started and ended. A correlation. Like between the eyes and the forms, there is a correlation. This correlation is what is called, correlation cannot be broken. Until the correlated are there is correlation. When the correlated come to an end, the correlation also, and the question of the correlation doesn't exist. Therefore, between the name and the form and the action, all the three are correlated. This beautiful virtual oneness is called Gauna Ekatvam. In fact, if there is something called virtual oneness, creation has virtual oneness, whereas the truth has literal oneness. Mukhya Ekatvam. Between the Jiva and the Jagat, there is correlation. I would like, generally, the correlation somehow or other is interpreted universally as a division. Whereas, Mandukya Upanishad beautifully says, sir, what you call division is not division, it is Gauna Ekatvam, oneness. Because there cannot be a Jiva without Jagat. Jagat unrelated to Jiva doesn't exist. And Jiva unrelated to Jagat also doesn't exist. So between the Jiva and Jagat there is virtual oneness. So there is no division in experience. There is only virtual oneness and literal oneness. Waking state is virtual oneness. Dream is virtual oneness. I hope it is being followed by you. It's a very beautiful unfoldment made by Mandukya Upanishad. Very, very beautiful. Says, there is no division because the waking universe is correlated to you the Veka, and you the Veka is correlated to the waking universe. This correlation cannot be called division. Correlation is Gauna Ekatvam, virtual oneness. Let us not translate it as secondary oneness. Let us translate it as virtual oneness. It's really oneness. I can't divide these two. You can't say this is Jiva and this is Jagat unrelated. Between a cow and a horse, there is no correlation. Between a pot and a mat, there is no correlation. Pot can exist without mat, and a mat can exist without a pot. Where there is no mutual dependency, there is no mutual relation. That is what is called a division really. But between the waker and the waking universe, the dreamer and the dreamt, there is no division. It is a virtual oneness. In the same manner, this is a very big thing. Understanding the difference between division, Gauna Ekatvam, Mukhya Ekatvam, is almost like covering the whole topic in Vedanta. Division is only between object and object. Division is only between the object and object. Because one object can exist without the other. A horse can exist without a cow. And a cow can exist without a horse. There is no Gauna Ekatva. There is neither virtual oneness nor literal oneness. It's a division. Now I'll give you another clue. Try to follow, it's not difficult. You have to make only resolve to understand. I can think of a horse without thinking of a cow. I can think of a horse without thinking of a cow. And I can think of a cow without thinking of a vice versa. Where I can think separately, there is a division. Where I can think separately, definitely there is a division. But between Jiva and Jagat cannot be thought separately. You can't think of yourself as a Jiva unrelated to Jagat. You can't entertain a thought of yourself minus the universe. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. Because one sees oneself as a jiva only in the context of Srishti, in the context of the form. You see? And therefore, a division is different. Gauna Ekatvam is different. Mukhya Ekatvam is different. So between the name and the form and the karma, there is a Gauna Mukhya, virtual oneness. Idameva trayam, this sansara, pragutpattehe, before the creation. Tarihi, then before the creation. Avyakritam asid, it was unmanifest. It is this very sansara, it is this realm of name and form and action that remained unmanifest before it was created. Tadeva punaha, that very unmanifest form, unmanifest name, form and karma, punaha sarva prani karma vashat. This is what I wanted to explain. In order to help the jivas to go through their prarabdha, prani karma vashat, Vyakriyate is made manifest. Bhagavan, it is a Pauranika thought. God makes the name and form manifest to help the jivas to go through their prarabdha. Just now I am translating it as it is. Then we'll edit it. God makes the name and form manifest. God makes the universe manifest to help the pranis, to help the living beings to go through their prarabdham. Sarva prani karma vashat vyakriyate. Bijadiva vrikshaha. God makes the universe manifest, like even a tree is made manifest from the seed. This is a very peculiar thought, and the educated people start wondering, does Bhagavan has a mind to think all these things, etc. Then we say, we explain it differently. The universe that remained unmanifest in the truth, by the nature of that unmanifest, becomes manifest in time. Why? This is the point. A jiva cannot remain unmanifest forever. The jiva has to become manifest. Yes. Why? Because there is avidya. Until the avidya is corrected, the jiva has to only go through the cycle of manifest and unmanifest. Either you call it svabhava, that is its nature. The manifest has to become unmanifest, that is its nature. The unmanifest slowly has to become manifest again. That is its nature. And where the jiva becomes manifest, that is all dependent upon the karma, its own prarabdha karma, etc. Therefore, even though it is said that God makes the universe manifest to help the jivas to go through their karma, even though that is what is said, but actually, for a Vedanti, the better way of understanding is, until the avidya is corrected, the universe becomes manifest. Yes. That is the swabhava. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, swabhavastu pravartate. Everything moves as per its nature. Swabhava. Everything moves as per the prana, as per the swabhava, as per the nature. Similarly, it is the nature of the manifest to become unmanifest. It is the nature of the unmanifest to become manifest. And when it becomes manifest, then the jiva goes through his karma. What is going through karma? He goes through the past karma and he also performs the new karma. Both of them. He goes through the past karma, the result of the past karma, and he also performs the new karma. So it is a combination of prarabdha and purushartha. Life is a combination of both purushartha and prarabdha. Purushartha is, he does new karmas, ragadvesha. What is born of ragadvesha is purushartha. Ragadvesha. What is born of ragadvesha is the new karma. Even independent of ragadvesha, the events that take place, which you can't ward off, that all comes under prarabdha. Somehow or other we have to manage to see the distinction between prarabdha and purushartha, so that we have to value both. I have to accept that certain things are coming from my past and I have to accept them, and certain things are in my hands which I have to do. Like self-control, etc. is something that is within my hand, I must achieve it. It is within my hands. And when it comes to certain events, I can't control them. In this manner, a prani is made manifest from the unmanifest state, not only to go through his prarabdha, but also do his new karma until the avidya is destroyed in any number of lives. It goes on. That is the method. That is the only way that jiva goes on living. Even if a person lives for 100 years, what does he do? Going through the past and creating a new future. He doesn't do anything else. Tadeva punaha sarva prani karmavashat vyakriyate bijadiva vrikshaha. Soyam, this. Let us read line after line. Soyam, this. Vyakrita avyakrita rupaha. This sansara which is in the form of vyakrita and avyakrita, manifest and unmanifest. The moment we define sansara as something that is both manifest and unmanifest, as a student, when we look at sansara, we only look at it as the manifest. When we look at the universe, we look at it only in its manifest state. That is what creates a problem. Even life should be looked at in both its states, that is manifest as well as the unmanifest. Then it has continuity. If we look at the universe as only the manifest, the life as only the manifest, and struggle as only the manifest, then we say, my God, then afterwards what? Once I die, the universe is gone, it is shunyam. The life comes to an end, then what remains is shunyam. And the struggle also comes to an end, then what remains is shunyam. The conclusion would be shunyam if we don't take into account the avyakrita. This particular point you can note down. If we don't take into account the avyakrita, it will end up in shunyam. Therefore, the sansara is both vyakrita avyakrita rupaha. I'll give you some logic. When everything becomes avyakrita, it is not there. It remains unmanifest. It's not felt. When I close my eyes to the snake, it's not felt, let us say. I close my eyes to the snake in the rope. I close my eyes to the snake, I close my memory also to the snake. Then snake is not felt. When I see the rope also, the snake is not felt. So in both the cases, it is not felt. In knowing the rope, the snake is not felt. Or in just closing my eyes to the snake, or closing my memory to the snake is not felt. Therefore, in laya, the snake is not felt. In Badha also the snake is not felt. What is the difference? In both the cases it is not felt. Say in Badha, when I see the rope, not only it negates the manifest state of the snake, but it also negates the its potential is negated. Very important. Knowledge negates not only the manifest state of samsara, knowledge negates even the potentiality, because the potentiality of an error is also an error. Very important, over which people break their heads. Shastrat karte, people break their heads. How can the potentiality of the error be an error? I say the potentiality of the error also is error. What else? The bubble form of anger also is anger. The storm form of anger also is anger. Your anger is in a small bubble, ripple of an anger. A ripple of an anger also is anger. A silent anger also is anger. A manifest anger also is anger. Just for understanding. Similarly, a silent error also is error. Snake is there, uncorrect. Snake is not negated, but it is there silently. And therefore, the more we understand that samsara has both manifest and unmanifest sides, struggle has both the sides, life has both the sides, then we understand it has continuity. It has continuity. The fear of death to a greatest extent becomes minimized. Where the continuity has to be clinched, continuity has to be clinched, not believed. Are you able to follow this language? Continuity has to be clinched, not believed. You have to see clearly that where, if life is manifest and if it can also remain unmanifest, and having remained unmanifest can become manifest, thus it goes on alternating, now manifest, now unmanifest. In this manner, life has continuity, moving in its both the forms, manifest, unmanifest states. Life has continuity. This universe also has continuity. Struggle has continuity. Everything has continuity. This life is nothing. It has continuity. One's existence has continuity. Now manifest, now unmanifest, now manifest, now unmanifest, now manifest, now unmanifest. Continuity. Then you look at life more fundamentally. Then you will not look at life as a simple dash and coming to an end. Life will not be looked upon as a 100 meters dash. It will be looked upon as a marathon until the moksha is gained. Okay, ji. That is why in all the Bhashya, he is so particular about describing everything as both Vyakrita and Avyakrita. Vyakrita, Avyakrita Rupaha, Sansaraha. This great sansara, which has two sides called Vyakrita, Avyakrita. Now you see how beautiful it is. Avidya Vishayaha. It is in the form of an error. It's an object of ignorance, means it is a result of ignorance, meaning it is an error. Now Bhashyakara is so particular to first define sansara as both as Vyakritam and Avyakrita, and sansara with both its Vyakrita and Avyakrita form, he defines it as an error. That means what? Even the unmanifest is an error. Hey, if the manifest is an error and even its unmanifest is an error, and when the error is negated, both its manifest form and the unmanifested both are negated. Sansaraha vidya vishayaha. Now what is this sansara? What is its manifest look? Its manifest look is like this. Kriya karaka phalatmakataya. It is always in the form of kriya. Kriya means struggle, action. I find myself in the context of doing some action. That is called kriya. I can't exist outside the context of doing something. In sleep I am free from there the kriya is unmanifest, therefore there I am silent. But in the waking state, I find always doing something. And doing means, understand, it need not be physical, volition. That is why whenever a person is sitting quiet, he is willing to be quiet. That is called karma. If you can really follow this point. You are sitting in the class now, it is not effortless. You are deciding. There is a volition to sit down. There is a will. You are using your will to sit down in the class. And when you want to go away, again you use your will. Therefore, even sitting quiet is willed. Sitting quiet is willed. Being silent is willed. Lying down is willed. Until you fall asleep, it is willed. Even to fall asleep, even the desire to go to sleep, even to fall asleep is willed. Until you sleep, you will to sleep. And once you fall asleep, the will to sleep resolves. Have you followed this point? Until you fall asleep, you will to sleep. You entertain the will to sleep. Oh, let me sleep, let me sleep, let me sleep. This is what is called kriya. This is called struggle. This is called action. That will, inner will. There is a will, there is a volition. This is what we call yatna. The logicians call it as. The real effort is felt there. The willing. So one wills to. So during the waking state, one is willing to sit down, willing to stand up, willing to walk, there is a will, willing to talk. Thus, one finds oneself a willer. And there is no difference between being a user of the will and being an individual. There is no difference. In fact, the right definition of an individual is the one who uses the will, the one who has the will. He is all the time using the will. He is not a being, he is willing. Even when he wants to be, he uses the will to be. That again becomes an effort. And understanding the truth means that the being is independent of willing. One's existence is not, one's being is not willed. One's being is independent of being willed. That particular effort to do something is called kriya. Then karaka. Karaka means the various details related to action. Karaka. Phala means the result. Atmakataya. So, an individual finds oneself in the midst of kriya, connected to various details of kriya, and also connected to phala. Kriya karaka phalatmakataya atmarupatvena, and he looks upon that very situation of being an individual, a villa, that situation of being a doer, that situation of being related to, connected to the details of action, and the situation of being connected to the result, that being connected to kriya, being connected to karaka, being connected to phala, this connection to kriya, karaka, phala, one looks upon as his very nature. Atmatvena adhyaropitaha. It is imposed on one's being. This particular situation of being, this willing is a part of my being. This individuality is a part of my being. This embodiment is a part of my being. Action is a part of my being. And similarly, my connection to the various details of action is a part of my being. And the fruits of action, when I enjoy them, they are also a part of my being. In this manner, one sees oneself, one sees all these details as a part of one's being, is what is called adhyaropa. Adhyaropitaha. Avidyaya eva, only through avidya. Murta amurta tad vasanatmakaha. You know, there is a full stop in between. You can remove it. Avidyaya, before avidyaya eva there is a, not necessary. Atma rupena adhyaropitaha avidyaya eva, only through avidya. Murta amurta tadvasanatmakaha sansaraha adhyaropitaha. What else is the nature of the sansara? Murta amurta tadvasanatmakaha. This is another phrase we have to analyze. Murta means the three elements which have form. Like that is the water element. The water can be seen. Fire can be seen, the earth can be seen. Fire onwards down. Fire, water and the earth, they are called the elements with form, otherwise called murta. And the air and space cannot be seen through the eyes, they are called amurta. And then their vasana means their impression. Impression means the unmanifest state. That means sansara is in the form of the manifest state of the five elements, and the unmanifest state of the five elements is called, that is the sansara. This sansara is imposed on the self through avidyaya eva, only through avidya. Now before we go to the next sentence, this particular word vasana in the Shastra, you know, there is a lot of usage about this word vasana. Vasana can be, you know, that is a desire, the subtle desire, the lingering, this lingering attraction for things is called vasana. That is also one meaning, that lingering attraction. You have overcome a lot of attraction. You have seen an object and you have grown out of it also, you have discovered there is nothing, but still there is a lingering attraction. Lingering vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasa varjam, it is said. When you have self-control, then your attraction for the objects goes away. The objects you can go away, you can keep away from the objects, but then there is a lingering attraction, rasa varjam, taste for them continues. Sometimes you keep distance from the objects, but the taste remains. The taste for the things is what is called the vasana. A taste, that silent taste for things is vasana. That silent taste for things. It's not a storm, but it is there. It's a silent. That silent taste for material pleasures is what we call the vasana. That is in the empirical sense. Therefore, a person can always use the word, he has vasana. Means what? He has got silent taste. Vasana can be for anything, need not be for a particular thing. Vasana can be a silent taste for money, silent taste for name, silent taste for fame, silent taste for pleasure. Any silent taste for anything is what is called vasana. But in the context of the Shruti, it is used in a little bigger sense. The unmanifest state of the whole universe is also called vasana. It's a very beautiful contrast. The unmanifest situation of samsara. The unmanifest. When a person dies, everything is in that form of vasana, in the form of impression. He doesn't feel it, but it is there. It can only be inferred when it manifests. When it becomes manifest, then you make an inference. If it has come back, that means it was there in the unmanifest. Like a tree in the seed you don't see. A tree in the seed you don't see, but you can infer. How? See, if it did not exist in the tree, then how did it become manifest? So when the tree becomes manifest, I make an inference. When the tree is unmanifest, I don't see it. The unmanifest by definition is something which you don't see. This is important. Unmanifest means which I can't see. The tree inside the seed I don't see. And that is why in Chandogya Upanishad, to highlight this particular point, the Chandogya Upanishad uses the example of a banyan seed, banyan tree seed. The seed of a banyan tree is so tiny, like a mustard seed. It is even smaller than, tinier than a mustard seed. If you have ever seen really a banyan seed. And don't confuse the banyan seed with a banyan fruit. A banyan fruit is this big. When you break it, then you have small particles like seeds. Now if you really break it, then it is very difficult to break open that seed. Do you see a banyan tree there? So the definition of the unmanifest is which you don't see. You don't see. Then how do you really, what is the pramana for it? Say when it germinates, then only from the manifest point of view, you infer it must have been, it must have remained there as unmanifest. Otherwise it would not have manifested. That means the manifest is seen and the unmanifest is inferred. I want you to, if you can really pick up this. Very intelligent thing it is. The manifest presence of the universe is seen. The unmanifest presence of the samsara is inferred. And the one who is aware of both is neither seen nor inferred, that is self-evident. That's a different matter. We are not talking about it now. Here it says, Murta Amurta Tad Vasanatmakaha. Now I have completed it. That is, the samsara which has two sides called the manifest and the unmanifest, which is also called the five elements remaining manifest and the unmanifest. And the unmanifest state of the five elements is called vasana. So sometimes we can use the word vasana in the context of silent taste, and sometimes we can use it in the sense of the unmanifest state of the whole universe. I have explained it. I don't think really you can really miss anything in this. It is clear to you. Ataha, therefore, ataha, from this, vilakshanaha, unlike the manifest state of the samsara, unlike the unmanifest state of the samsara is samsara, whether it is manifest or unmanifest. Ataha vilakshanaha anamarupa karmatmakaha. It is unlike the name, unlike the form, unlike the karma. Anama, arupa, akarmatmakaha. It is unlike the name. The self is unlike the name. The self is unlike the form. The self is unlike the struggle. Anamarupa karmatmakaha. And the one who sees is unlike the form that he sees. The one who sees is unlike the name. He hears. The conscious being is unlike the name, unlike the form, unlike the karma. Karma is chalanam, it is movement. Whereas the seer he cannot move. Advayaha is non-dual. The conscious being is non-dual. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavopi, even though he is ever pure, Buddha, and he is ever self-evident, ever Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, Nitya Mukta, and he is ever free, Mukta Svabhavopi, even though he is ever pure, ever effulgent and ever free, Svabhavopi, but still Kriyakaraka Palabhedadi Viparyayena. Contrary to his nature, he is looked upon as an actor, identified with being an actor, action and the means of action. As an individual, I would like to translate it as an individual. The ever pure being, the ever free being, the non-dual being, the non-individual being is looked upon as an individual person, as an individual biological person. Viparyayena avabhasate, appears. It's very beautiful here. This is Brihadaranyaka. Brihadaranyaka Bhashya is like this. Avabhasate. This is a mistake not made by somebody. It appears. It appears. The unlimited, ununderstood appears as limited. That is its nature. The free appears bound. Kriyakaraka palabhedadi viparyayena avabhasate. Ataha, therefore, asmat kriyakaraka phalabheda swabhavat, from this individuality, from this jivatvam, Once we say Jivatvam or individuality, it includes Kriya Karaka Phala Bheda, all of them. Ataha Asmat Kriya Karaka Phala Bheda Sparupat Etavad Idamiti. And a thinking person understands this entire creation is only this much and nothing more. This creation can give me only this much and nothing more. My senses can give me only this much and nothing more. My senses can give me a few pleasures and nothing more. My emotions can give me this much of pleasure and nothing more. My body can give me only this much and nothing more. And these elements also can give me only this much and nothing more. Etavadeva means what? It's limited. Etavadeva. Etavad idamiti. And now I am going to tell something very important. I have told this number of times, but again I like it. I like to tell this. It's very beautiful. I don't have to go all over creation to find out what it can give me. Because creation is not a volume, is not the vastness. Creation is this correlation. This relation is called creation. I myself standing in relation to a form. This correlation is creation. Myself standing in relation to a form is creation. Myself standing in relation to sound, taste, touch, smell is creation. Myself standing in relation to a memory is creation. Therefore, when we talk about creation, we think of it in terms of vastness. Yes. If you can follow what I am saying here, just a few minutes, unbelievable relief you get. You will get unbelievable relief, because this universe is not something vast, it is more in the form of a relation. A relationship cannot be judged in terms of a volume. It has no size. That is why I don't mind saying the size-free truth, the size-free truth, the undivided truth, the size-free truth. The error about it is not a size, it is more a division, a relation. The Advaitam is seen as Dvaitam. Dvaitam here means correlation. So whether I stand related to this form or any form, it is the same thing. And my standing related to a sound is creation. My standing related to an object of taste, touch, smell is creation. And that creation doesn't have a big volume, it is just a correlation. If one relation doesn't give me anything, it doesn't give me, other relations also are not going to give me anything. In this manner, creation is only this much. It's not big, it is only this much. Creation is only this much. This much means how much? It's only this relation, that's called creation. It's only this relation to a pleasure, that's called creation, nothing else. I stand related to a pleasure. I stand related to a pain. This much. In terms of pleasure, it is only this much, limited. Etavadidamiti sadhya sadhana rupad viraktasya. With the thought that this universe is only this much and not more. This universe can give me only this much, not more. The heaven also can give me only not more than what the earth can give me. In this manner, the thinking in this manner makes one viraktasya. It is only this much, not more. iti viraktas. A person gets really, he loses interest in his pursuit of happiness through the creation. He is interested in happiness, but he loses interest in the pursuit of happiness through the creation. He may live in the creation. He may live in the creation. He may use the creation. He may live in the creation. He may use the creation for his survival. But he doesn't use the creation as a means to his happiness. That distinction must be made, Ji. A means of survival and a means of happiness. There is a difference. In fact, to see this distinction takes a long time. A means of survival is different from a means of happiness. Etavad idamiti sadhya sadhana rupat. And this universe is always in the form of action and result. That is called sadhya sadhana bhava. Sadhya means the result. Sadhana means the means. And in this world, all means are in the form of karma, action. I walk and I reach. I make effort, there is a result. Therefore, the entire pursuit of happiness is in the form of action and result. Action and result. This action and result is called karma phala. It can also be technically called sadhya sadhana. This is a realm of means and ends. But when we use this phrase that this is a realm of means and ends, people think, it is a high-flown phrase, very difficult to understand. But actually it means the realm of actions and results. Kuch bhi nahi hai. Kuch bhi nahi. It is a realm of actions and results. And viraktasya, a person who has lost interest in pursuing happiness through actions and results. Viraktasya, then kamadi dosha karma bija bhuta avidya nivrittaye. When a person becomes virakta, then he has to use, in fact he becomes a virakta and doesn't remain quiet. Then he uses that vairagyam to understand the truth. If he doesn't use that vairagyam to understand the truth, that vairagyam may go, because vairagyam cannot be sustained without further seeking the knowledge. Vairagyam can end up in frustration. Sometimes frustration can lead to vairagyam. Yes, you are frustrated and then you go meet a Swami, you study Vedanta, your frustration can slowly become vairagyam. Yes. Frustration may bring you to Vedanta. But while studying Vedanta, you will develop vairagyam. It's possible. Like Bhartrihari began Vedanta through frustration. Frustration is a bahana to take the person to Vedanta really. But while studying Vedanta, you don't develop frustration, you develop only vairagyam. But when you are living with people, you develop frustration. Yes. In this material world, frustration happens. But frustration can take you to Vedanta. But while studying Vedanta, you won't build, you won't develop frustration. You will get vairagyam. And vairagyam will be fulfilling in gaining the knowledge. But now I want to make another point. Supposing you have vairagyam, and it is not followed by reflection, study, etc., then that same vairagyam will slowly one day fizzle out. You will get into again frustration. Yes. Frustration. Therefore, a virakta has to understand the truth. For that, here it says, for the purpose of, in order to help a virakta, here Bhashyakara says, viraktasya kamadidosha karma bija bhuta avidya nivruttaye. In order to negate avidya. What is this avidya? Which is the reason for, the seed for the entire struggle. The seed for desire and struggle. Self-ignorance is the seed for the self-error, and the self-error is the seed for the kama, the desire, and it is the seed for the struggle, the karma, and it is the seed for imperfections, dosha. Self-ignorance is the seed for all the inner imperfections. Ragadi, raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, these are all called the imperfections. Bija bhuta avidya vinivrittaye. In order to help a virakta and by way of destroying his ignorance, which is the bija bhuta, which is the bija of the kama, the dosha. And how do you want to remove it? Rajvamiva sarpa vijnana apanayanaya. How one uses the rajju jnanam to negate the sarpa jnanam. How the rope knowledge is used to negate the sarpa pratiti. Sarpa vijnana apanayanaya. Brahma vidya arabhyate, Brahma vidya is begun. Now begins the Brahma vidya, which is useful to negate the avidya, which is the bija of the entire desire and struggle. And why do you require the Brahma vidya to negate the avidya? Do you require Brahma vidya? Does vidya negate the avidya? For which he says, yes, sarpa vidya, that sarpa jnanam, sarpa pratiti is avidya, whereas rajju jnanam is vidya. So rajju jnanam negates the sarpa pratiti, sarpa jnanam, sarpa pratiti. How rajju jnanam negates the sarpa pratiti? In the same manner, well, the Brahma jnanam negates the jiva pratiti, the idea that I am a jiva. And for that purpose, Brahma vidya is started. Why not karma? No, karma is a part of the problem. Karma, phala, etc., they're all part of the problem. They can't solve the problem. Like, falling, it's like there is a darkness. And if a person, hits against something in the darkness and he falls down, it is called karma. He is drifting in the darkness. He moves from one direction to another direction, and on the way he really hits against something and he falls down. This falling down, while groping in the dark, you keep falling. While groping in the dark, you keep falling. That is technically called karma really. But does it negate darkness? You are only drifting inside the darkness. This drifting within the darkness, this groping within the darkness, struggling to find a way out of it, you are drifting within the darkness, which we call technically karma. That drifting within the darkness is not going to negate darkness. All our karmas are only drifting within the darkness of self-ignorance. Whatever one does, it is a desperate drifting. Maybe this will help me. Maybe that will help me. In this manner, groping in the dark. This groping in the dark is somehow or other technically called karma. So groping in the dark. Just as groping in the dark cannot negate darkness, Similarly, groping in ignorance can't negate ignorance. Very important thing. So the entire karma kanda is groping in ignorance. All upasanas are groping in ignorance. All the laukika karma is groping in ignorance. Vedanta comes and says this groping in ignorance can't negate ignorance. You have to bring in the light. You have to look at yourself very, very closely. You have to look at yourself very, very closely, as closely as you see your palm. And alone really understanding your presence, well, that is the antidote to the ignorance, iti. And your existence is not a societal product. Your existence is not your parental product. Your society is not a part of civilization, so-called civilization. No, that is eternal being. It is a spiritual eternal being. That is why even a tribal who is not a part of civilization is also the eternal being, is a conscious being. A bird is an eternal being. Every conscious, every living being is an eternal being. Thus I must discern between the nitya and a product, a societal product, etc., etc. In this manner, it is that light, Brahma Vidya, that is an antidote to darkness. Not groping in the dark can remove darkness. In this manner, he says. Now this is over. Now in the next class we will see, Ashwamedha Yaga. In order to perform a ritual, you require fire, you require water, you require dravyas, you require all these materials. That means you require creation. One is the yajna, requires all the created details. In the beginning of the Upanishad, I said, Ashwamedha Upasana gives you the same result as even Ashwamedha Karma. And the result of that Ashwamedha Karma or the Ashwamedha Upasana, that the result of that Ashwamedha Karma is Hiranyagarbha Prapti, which is again a part of creation. This is another detail we saw. Now Ashwamedha Upasana, we are not going to see it. We will skip it because I said we will see only the highlights. Ashwamedha Upasana is simple this. That is, you look upon the details of the horse, you impose on the details of the horse the details of the creation. Its eyes are the sun. You understand, In this manner, its head is the heaven. In this manner, you impose the details of the creation in the details of the horse. It becomes Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Like all the details of the waking world are a part of Virat. Like all the details of the body are the details of the body. Similarly, all the details of the creation are imposed on the details of a horse is what is called Ashwamedha Upasana, which is going to be said in the next verse, which we will skip. That is not necessary. But then the havan that is performed, the karma that is performed, requires also the details of creation. And you cannot perform that yajna without those details. Therefore, in order to facilitate Ashwamedha karma, in order to facilitate the Ashwamedha Upasana, first Parameshwara created the world. This thought you don't have to worry about. The next topic we are going to start is the creation of the universe, which we are going to begin. Now, page number. Only the highlights we will see. Second Brahmana, Dvitiya Brahmana. We are going to see this. Have you find out the Dvitiya Brahmana? The first verse. Page 46. This is going to be a very huge highlight in Vedanta. This particular, the Bhashyam on this. Now anyway, this is going to be the beginning. Brahma Vidya begins with this particular thing. We have seen that the Srishti is not going to really give you the various details of the Srishti are not going to negate the avidya. Groping in avidya is not going to negate avidya. It is only the vidya that is going to negate the avidya, for which we are going to begin the topic. This is going to be the topic from the next verse, from this verse onwards. We'll see from tomorrow onwards. And please, all of you have the text with the Bhashyam. Even if you have English translation, it doesn't matter. But Bhashyam in Sanskrit must be there, so that we read line after line. You will should be able to really follow it. Okay. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.